Exciting new category, Pro Comp. And Dave, let's talk about that while we're watching the first racer stage.
This is a new category for 1974, Ted, and it matches up all types of cars. Here we see Wayne Ernst, and apparently he's having some problems as he's looking at his crew, and he doesn't look very happy. And taking off his fire gloves, you can figure there's something wrong. He drives what's known as an A-fuel dragster. It is an injected engine using nitromethane. His competition, who has the single run, is Dave Mack. He drives a gas-burning dragster, but is supercharged. They are handicapped on the basis of weight, engine size, and the type of fuel used. So you see all different types of cars. We'll be seeing matchups between dragsters and funny cars, supercharged cars against injected cars, and it really has provided some of the greatest racing seen yet in 1974.
In our second matchup, Ron Boggs in a Double B funny car. He'll be going against Don Girardeau in a Double A dragster.
Right, the Double B funny car designation indicates that it is burning alcohol instead of its big brother that uses nitromethane, such as you saw a moment ago with Don Prudhomme and Tom McEwen and the like.
And a good race, a good close one at 7.22 for Boggs, the winning time, 194 miles an hour.
And now remember, that car is running on alcohol. It is very similar, almost, in fact, it is identical to the nitro-burning cars. The only difference is the type of fuel used. You see how close the racing is. Here is Ron Boggs in the funny car, about a half a car length ahead of Don Girardeau, and Girardeau just almost caught him at that finish line point.
Jim Scott, a Double A dragster, in the right lane, going against Dale Hall, who will be in the left lane.
He's driving what we call a B-fuel dragster, Dale Hall. That is the conventional front-engine style dragster using an injected small-block Chevrolet engine using nitromethane for fuel. Jimmy Scott, the winningest driver thus far in Pro Comp, driving the supercharged dragster of Al Weiss from Canoga Park, California, on gasoline. Let's see how close this one is.
Another close one. 7:16 for Jim Scott, the winning time. 189 miles an hour. 7:32, the losing effort. 187 miles an hour.
The handicapping system here, by using the engine displacement, the car weight, and the type of fuel used, has worked out very well. Here we see a supercharged engine against an injected one, and less than 5 feet separating them at the finish line.
Ken Veeney in the right lane going against Jeg Coughlin, both driving Double B funny cars.
Jeg Coughlin is from Columbus, Ohio. He is driving a car powered by the late model Hemi. Veeney's Vega is obviously a Chevrolet Vega that is really brought down low to the ground, trying to cheat the wind as much as possible. It uses a Chevrolet engine, both cars powered by alcohol.
We have free stage. Should be an exciting race, and staged, and Coughlin almost loses it, swirling down the track. Backed off when he saw he was having some difficulty.
Coughlin doing a great job of keeping that car from going into the guardrail, because with that fiberglass body, while he is protected very well, you can see right here, he heads right straight for it and just almost clips it with the tail of the car. The car swinging around now and starting to go into a skid, swings the other direction. He brings it under control, and Jeg Coughlin of Columbus doing a masterful driving job as Ken Veeney streaks on to a win at 7.30 seconds. That's the quarterfinal round of Pro Comp.
And this is competition in the Superstock category, one of the more popular events, as Ronnie Sirianni does a burnout. He'll be going against Butch Leal. Leal in the left lane, Sirianni in the right lane.
Ted, Superstock racing is just what it implies. They are souped-up, stock-type cars, similar to those that you see driven on the street. Here is Butch Leal in the 65 Plymouth, the Chevy Camaro of Bennett and Sirianni. They operate on a handicap basis, where the slower car gets a physical head start. You see the tree counting down unequally there, and the Camaro with the lead over Butch Leal. This is where the catch-up comes into drag racing. And Butch Leal trying to catch him. Can he do it? The finish line shows he did just barely.
His time, 10.63 for Butch Leal to an 11.28 for Ronnie Sirianni.
The handicap given to Ronnie Sirianni is based on the national record for the class car he is running. One thing about drag racing, there is something there for everybody, regardless of what type of car you like to drive, whether you'd be a top fuel dragster or a super stocker. NHRA-style drag racing has something for everybody. And here is the bye run. There were an unequal number of cars in this round, so Bobby Warren from Clinton, North Carolina, getting a single run. Each car must make the same number of runs as his competitor.
One of the real fun categories is the modified. And everybody dreams, I think, at one time or another of having the old Roadster.
Certainly do, and this is where the Roadsters, the Coupes, the sedans, they all reside. It used to be in the earlier days of drag racing that the 32 Fords just dominated these classes. But right now, it's the more modern vehicles. Here we see the Chevy Corvette of Jerry Ault coming at us in the right-hand lane, looking at the cars. Paul Schley with the Volkswagen from Santa Ana, California, losing on that run to Ault. Ault at an 11-12. He's from Dayton, Ohio. Losing time for Schley in 11:24. You can see they were very closely matched as they left the starting line, and it's hard to believe that that Volkswagen is competing almost on a heads-up basis, that with a four-cylinder Volkswagen engine to the V8 in the Corvette.
And here's the Roadster, perhaps I was thinking about and dreaming about. It's driven by Joseph DeSantis. He'll be going against Jim Griffin. Griffin in the left lane, DeSantis in the right lane.
And there's Joe DeSantis. That's right, concentrating on that starting system. The head start, we'll see it count down. A tremendous head start for Jim Griffith over the Street Roadster, and here comes DeSantis. Like you say, everybody dreams about having one of these, but I don't know whether everybody dreams of going 150 miles an hour in one or not.
Running time, 9:28 for DeSantis, 11:27 for Jim Griffin.
Car capable of speeds upwards of 150 miles an hour. Jim Griffith, with his big head start, still unable to hold off the top-end charge of Joe DeSantis and the Street Roadster, taking the lead as he goes into the traps at the finish line and winning the race. 4 categories of competition are represented in sportsman or handicap racing here. Actually, 3 of them are handicap, 1 is heads-up, sportsman category racing. We're looking now at Competition Eliminator, and that's right, that is a 6-cylinder powered dragster. Hard to believe that it would be competitive. It runs speeds upwards of 145 miles an hour. It's racing against a V8 powered dragster. Again, the handicap coming into play here. The V8 car is Russ Flegel from Indianapolis, Indiana. John Baines from Louisville, Kentucky, driving the 6-cylinder dragster. Here's Flegel with his protective fire suit on, and he is driving the V8 dragster. The head start going to the 6-cylinder about a half a second.
And it's going to be Russ Flegel, a time of 8:46 to 9:25 for John Baines, a speed of 159 miles an hour.
Of course, the point here is not only must you be competitive against the guy you're running against, but you also must be able to run fairly close to your record, particularly when you get into NHRA championship competition like this, because the handicap is based on the national record for your class. There we see Russ Flegel taking the win. The next race, there are 2 bodied cars, this one a late model and the other an early model type. Altered cars, that is the class designation, and they both run the same class, so it will be a heads-up race.
Dave Weir in the right lane against Bob Riffle. Bob Riffle just running off a quick burnout there. He is from Columbus, Ohio, driving for the Nationwise team.
Dave Weir from Spring Valley, New York, and this is literally, Ted, the old versus the new. The old design altered car, that is a Bantam Roadster, against the new Dodge of Bob Riffle. And they're going side by side, and this will be a close one, you can tell right now.
Extremely close, and it's Dave Weir, a time of 9:04 to 9.10 for Bob Riffle, a speed of 153 miles an hour.
The jubilant reaction of his crewman kind of told you who won that race, I think, Ted. Here we see it again in slow motion and stop action, and let's just see how close it really was. Dave Weir in the Bantam Roadster, as you can see, just a wheel length and a little more ahead of Bob Riffle in the altered.
Now back to Pro Comp and round 3. Dave Mack in the right lane. You're taking a look at him right there against Ron Boggs, who will be in the left lane. And this is the new category this year. Different cars, different weights, but all matched up for good competition.
And these cars run on a heads-up basis. The handicapping is done by the weight, the cubic inch, and the type of fuel used, the cubic inch of the engine. Within the cars themselves, no handicap. It is a pro start, 1 amber, and then a green light, and then they leave. And tremendous racing in this category.
And this is why it's so exciting. Dave Mack, a 7.18 the winning time, 187 miles an hour, 7.25 for the losing effort at 191 miles an hour.
And this is another close race. The funny car against the dragster, and certainly Pro Comp has proved that cars can be handicapped on this basis, and you can't get much closer than that. I'll tell you, Ted, that is really close.
Double A dragster Jim Scott going against Double B funny car Ken Veeney. Veeney in the left lane, Scott in the right lane.
That's a shot of Veeney inside his funny car, the protective fire suit and the mask on. And Jimmy Scott, the car that won the Gator Nationals, Pro Comp, the Sports Nationals, the recent all-sportsman category race. He won that one. He is the winningest Pro Comp racer in the country today with that double-A gas dragster owned by Al Weiss of Canoga Park.
And it's going to be Jim Scott, a time of 7:14, 189 miles an hour, 7:43, the losing time, 191 miles an hour.
Chuck Poole's Chuck Wagon, an exhibition vehicle here at the 10th Annual NHRA Spring Nationals. Ted, this vehicle is designed, it's a Volkswagen truck, designed to travel the quarter mile on its rear wheels only. You saw the gust of wind catch him and move him from the left lane to the right lane. They're steerable just like any other vehicle.
Now let's move to the finals. First of all, the super stock, Bobby Warren of Clinton, North Carolina, his 67 Camaro, against Butch Leal of Northridge, California, in his 65 Plymouth. Leal in the left lane.
If anybody had to be considered a favorite in any category, it's Butch Leal in super stock, and there you see Bobby Warren with the head start, but Butch Leal coasting to a stop at the starting line. Obviously something breaking in the drive line, and a tough break for him. Butch Leal, definitely a favorite in super stock. The winning time for Bobby Warren, 11:44. We'll see it again, and here you see the car coming up and then going nose to the ground. Means something probably let go in the drive line. Bobby Warren of Clinton, North Carolina, recent winner of the Sports National Superstock title, now the Spring Nationals champion.
Butch Leal's car being pushed away. That's Leal with his hand on the door there. A very disgusted man right now, very dejected after having come that close and then having something break in the car.
Most drivers will say they would rather get beat than have some mechanical failure do them under.
In the finals of the modified eliminator, this is Joseph DeSantis of Sharpsville, Pennsylvania, in his 1923 T-model Ford. He'll be going against Jerry Alt of Dayton, Ohio, in his 63 Vet. Alt in the left lane and DeSantis in the right lane.
I can assure you that Henry Ford never had any idea that a 23 Ford Roadster, even though it be a fiberglass replica body, would ever be quite in this configuration. Capable of speeds upwards of 150 miles an hour, DeSantis giving away a big head start to Jerry Alt, and here comes the Roadster. Powered by a late model Hemi engine, it's very close at the finish line. Oh, 9:15, a new national record.
9:15 for Joseph DeSantis, the losing time 10.99 for Jerry Alt. Let's look at it again.
You can see DeSantis changing the gears and the car bouncing on every gear change. And it is very, very close. Going into the first speed trap, you see pulling alongside DeSantis, moving ahead by about 3 to 4 feet to take the win over Jerry Alt.
Now to the finals of the competition eliminator. And it'll be Dave Weir of Spring Valley, New York, 32 Bantam Austin, against Russ Flegel of Indianapolis, Indiana, in his Chevrolet.
Here we've got the dragster against the altered. This is handicap racing. The head start will be going to the altered car. There you see Dave Weir, and the lights counting down in a staggered fashion. Weir with the lead over Russ Flegel. Flegel trying to play catch-up from Indianapolis, Indiana, and it's going to be tough. 9 seconds flat for the altered. Here you see the head start to Weir. He drifts towards the right just a little bit, but he straightens it back out, follows right down the center of the lane, defeating Russ Flegel for the second major event in a row. Russ Flegel in the runner-up position in Comp Eliminator.
And in the new Pro Comp category, 2 AA gas dragsters, Dave Mack from Monrovia, Maryland, and from Canoga Park, California, Jimmy Scott driving the Weiss and Scott car, the national record holder, so far been the best in the field. We'll see how it turns out.
The Pro Comp Eliminator, the final round, Jim Scott of Canoga Park, California, and he'll be going against Dave Mack of Monrovia, Maryland.
Both these cars are the same class, Ted. They are both gas dragsters, a little bit different approach. Scott using Al Weiss's early model Chrysler engine in the right-hand lane, the late Milodon aluminum engine in Dave Mack's car. Let's watch this. This is close. Oh, 7:23, the winning time to a losing 7:34. A bit off pace for both cars, but Jimmy Scott annexing another national title. He won the Gator Nationals, the Sports Nationals, and now the Spring Nationals. It's on the far lane, the lane away from us. You see Jimmy Scott getting there just a hairbreadth before Dave Mack.